Hi and welcome. I'm so excited to share this calming watercolor tutorial with you. Here at By the Lakeside, we keep things simple, soothing and creative. And today we are painting a bright, juicy watercolor orange. This is a beginner-friendly project, perfect for loosening up and enjoying the process. I will walk you through it step by step from sketch to final details. Let's get started. For paints, I'm going to use the Daler Rowney Aquafine 48 half pan set. This set has a beautiful collection of shades to paint all kinds of watercolor subjects. The set also comes with a size 4 round brush, which is a perfect size to get started with painting. Today we are going to use a couple of shades of yellows, oranges, reds, and a few greens such as sap green, olive green and hooker's green. We will also use a few shades of brown to mix some nice earthy shades of green. For exact shade names, please check description box below, where I have also shared a link to this set. For brushes, I am going to use the Princeton Velvet Touch Round Brush series in sizes 6 and 4 to paint larger areas, and long round 4 and 1 for detailing. For mixing paints, I'm going to use some ceramic palettes that I have handy with me, but you can also use the mixing tray of your palette. For paper, I'm going to use the Canson XL watercolor paper, which is 140 pounds and it is in the size 9 by 12. I have cut down these sheets into smaller sizes to use them for painting the fruits. The paper has a beautiful texture and I absolutely love it for layering and wet-on-wet watercolor techniques. To clean my brushes, I'm going to use a tissue paper or a kitchen towel. We are also going to need 2 cups of clean water to rinse our brushes and to apply layers of clean water wherever we are going to do some wet-on-wet techniques. We are also going to need a pencil and an eraser for sketching purposes, and a masking tape if you're using a loose sheet of paper like me to tape down your paper and hold it firmly, but this is completely optional. Before we begin painting, let's take a quick look at a real orange slice for inspiration. See how the center is vibrant and juicy with beautiful variations of orange and red orange. The peel has a rich, warm tone with a touch of yellow along the edges. And the texture, the tiny segments and natural veins add so much more interest. Studying a real fruit like this helps us mix some more realistic colors and better understand how to build up layers in watercolor. Keep this in mind as we choose our colors and begin painting. I'm starting out by mixing cadmium yellow deep, a bit of Indian yellow, cadmium orange hue, and later we will also use a shade of red to add a darker value. Here's a simple sketch that I'll be using for today's painting. I have taped the edges of my paper to keep it flat and to create a nice clean border in the end. If you're sketching along, start with a circle for the orange and 2 leaves on top. Then draw another circle above it for the orange slice and divide it into segments like little wedges. Keep your pencil lines light, just enough to guide your brush without showing through the paint. Pause here if you need time to sketch, and once you're ready, we will move on from here. I'm going to start by applying a light watery wash of cadmium yellow using my size 6 round brush. The wash will be our base to build the layers as we do some shading on top of it. Once I have the first wash in place, I'm going to drop in a darker shade of same yellow along the outer edge to show the yellow peel area around the fruit. We will also drop in some paint in the center and then wait for everything to dry. In the meanwhile, we will start painting the whole orange fruit. I'm going to start with the same watery wash of yellow and start applying it along the surface of the orange. I'm going to keep the source of light on my right hand side and leave the white of the paper as the highlight. Then I'm slowly going to start building layers, first with a darker shade of orangish yellow, then a bit of orange, followed by a deeper mix of orange and red. At all times, I'm going to allow the colors to blend into each other and gently help the blending process by gliding my brush smoothly on the wet surface. As you do this, make sure your brush is moist at all times. Also try to maintain darker area on the left hand side and lighter area and the highlight on the right hand side. We don't want to lose the highlight as we build the layers. I'm also making sure that the part on the extreme left and the part which is under the leaves is slightly more darker to create a beautiful rounded effect. The darker areas act as shadows and give a depth and dimension to your fruit. I'm slowly going near the highlight and making sure the colors around it are blended nicely. You can use a darker value of orange that is a bit thick in consistency and dot it on the wet surface to create additional texture that creates a nice dotted feel to the outer surface of the orange. In the end, I'm also going to drop in some water using the tip of my brush and allow the drops to bloom on the wet paint to create beautiful wet on wet blooming texture. Take a step back and look at everything and blend wherever necessary. And now we will wait for the whole fruit to dry and then come back to the leaves after. In the meanwhile, let's go back to our slice. The orange slice is now dry. With the help of a size 4 round brush, I'm going to draw small strokes which will act as the juicy fiber of the fruit. Leave some gaps in between to show the base color. Once done with the first color, use a slightly darker mix which is not too runny to draw some overlapping strokes. Allow the colors to blend naturally and don't overdo the layering or else you will lose the base layer. Continue to paint the rest of the areas in a similar fashion. Don't forget to leave tiny gaps between the triangles. You can also switch to a smaller brush if needed. While these sections dry, we will go ahead and paint the thin outer peel which we see peeking through as we look at the slice from top angle. Use a darker shade of orange and go around the circle using a small size round brush. Once done, use a clean moist brush and gently blur the harsh edge of the circle to blend smoothly into the yellow part for a more natural look. Once the middle slice portion is dry, layer it lightly with a darker mix of orange for final texture. And now for the last part, let's paint the leaves of the whole orange. For that, I'm mixing some sap green onto my palette and simply painting the leaves green with a size 6 round brush. Then I mixed a darker shade of sap green by adding a bit of brown and used this as the second layer. I'm also going to add a hint of yellow on the leaf to show some shading. Blend the greens together, keeping the area near the stem a bit darker than the tip. Similarly, go ahead and paint the second leaf. And now, using a small size round brush, we will paint the stem using 2 shades of brown. I'm also going to paint some shadow area near the stem, for which I'm going to use the same mix of lighter brown. Gently blend in the color into the orange using a moist clean brush. Once the leaves are dry, use a small size round brush and draw some veins on them using a darker mix of green. And that's it. We have finished painting our watercolor orange with its fresh leaves and a juicy citrus slice on the top. Now comes my favorite part, carefully peeling off the masking tape. It always feels like unwrapping a little gift. I hope you enjoyed this painting session and found it relaxing and fun to follow along. If you did, don't forget to share your work on Instagram and do tag me so I can share your work in my stories, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel by the Lakeside Art Studio for more calming watercolor tutorials. Thanks for painting with me today. See you in the next one.